I'm Mike Baker, Deputy Village Manager. During this presentation, I'll be discussing the village's portion of the property tax and how it impacts the average homeowner in Downers Grove, as well as the village budget. There are 6 key points that will be emphasized as part of this presentation. I'll summarize them now and then provide a more thorough explanation of each one. First, the village goes through a process every year to adopt the tax levy. It's important to understand that the levy is a dollar amount that determines property taxes to be collected in the village of Downers Grove. Second, the amount collected and distributed to the village supports several high-priority functions. Third, not all taxes the village levies are collected. Fourth, property taxes are planned to increase for 2 primary purposes: general fund operations and public safety pensions. Fifth, there are many taxing bodies that appear on a typical tax bill, and the village of Downers Grove makes up about 10% of that total bill. Lastly, property taxes bring in just over 1/4 of total revenue that supports general fund operations. I'll now provide a more in-depth look at each of the points, beginning with number 1. The schedule that you see here shows the meeting and publication dates for consideration of the tax levy. The tax levy adopted in the middle of December will appear as part of the tax bills that are distributed by DuPage County in early May 2011. Points 2 and 3 will be addressed together in the following set of tables. This summary table shows the different components that make up the amount that the village levies. The first 4 categories, listed from top to bottom, show areas that the village has direct responsibility for. As you can see, property taxes support general operating expenses, are dedicated to fund stormwater improvements, meet state set obligations related to police and fire pensions, and there is also a debt service component, which I'll come back to momentarily. The remaining categories are required to appear as part of the village's overall levy. However, the library board is responsible for setting the levy for the library, and the special service areas only apply to limited geographic areas and change only slightly from year to year. This brings us to point 3. Not all taxes levied are actually collected, which is further explained by adding the column to the right. As you can see, only one of the categories has changed. The amount to be collected for debt service under the village portion of the levy dropped to 0. This occurs as a result of a process where taxes are abated, or in other words, removed from the tax levy, provided there are other sources of revenue available to pay them. In this case, several specific sources of revenue have been pledged and are available to pay the $7.8 million in debt service, which reduces the amount of the total levy. As a result, the amount to be levied and collected for the village comes to just over $13.3 million. Adding in the library and special service areas brings the total to $18.3 million. This table answers the question of how the 2010 levy compares to the levy amount for the prior year, 2009. In this table, the amount to be collected column that you were just looking at has shifted to the left, and the far right column now shows how much the levy changed from 2009 to 2010. The village's portion of the levy increased by $500,000 for operations and just under $400,000 for pension obligations. The pension portion represents an obligation that the village must contribute based on state requirements and actuarial recommendations approved by the village's police and fire pension boards. The increases for operations were discussed at length throughout the village's long-range financial planning and budgeting processes, which occurred over the summer and fall months. For those who are interested, extensive information is available on the village website detailing these processes. The graphic on the screen shows a section of an actual tax bill received in 2010 based on the 2009 levy for a piece of property with an estimated market value of $311,000. Of the 24 various taxing bodies and pension funds, the village is directly responsible for 3, which are highlighted in yellow. When you combine these village components, The taxes paid to the Village of Downers Grove total $483.70 on a total tax bill of $4,537. For the 2010 levy, assuming a 5% decline in assessed value, this property owner can expect to pay $519 to the village, an increase of $35 from their 2010 tax bill. The property taxes collected to support the village's $40 million general fund represent just over 1/4 of all general fund revenues. It's important to understand that the village relies on many other sources of revenue to pay for general fund operations, such as police, fire, and public works services. Here are the 6 key points, once again restated. These are important factors to consider in understanding the village tax levy and how it applies to property in the village and provides continuing support of village services and financial obligations. The village's public discussion of long-range financial planning and budgeting for 2012 and beyond will begin in the coming months, and information will be provided on the website detailing this process and how residents can remain informed and involved. Thank you for your time and attention.